As you can see, guys, it's PVL time. Examination is on 28 October 2024. I'm offering classes of PVL 3701 from 1 October till 27 October 2024 on Microsoft Teams. We will be doing all previous question papers together. Class will be held at 9 p.m. till late every day. It's only 600 rand, guys. You can contact me on this number. The only reason why I'm giving those classes is to make you understand the question, right? See how I answered some of the question. Then you will get a question like this, question 10, which says that Olo is the owner of the Sunderland farm. He enters into a lease agreement with Solani, in terms of which Solani hires the farm from them for 10 years. Solani resided on the farm. The contract of lease is registered in the deeds office. The lease expired on 30 June 2018. Xolo did not renew the lease and Solani refuses to vacate the farm. Xolo wishes to evict Solani. Is Xolo entitled to evict Solani? Which legislation is applicable and why? So, this is the question. If you read this question, you must read to understand. Can Xolo entitled to evict Solani? If he wants to evict Solani, which legislation is applicable and why?
No,
Which
go
legislation?
sit in our home. Fix the bed at the center.
So the only reason to say that is because applying the necessary legislation will mean that you have understood the question. The thing is that Solani has a lease agreement which has been registered. Now the lease has expired. So it means that Solani is no longer is an unlawful occupier. Then when you answer this question, you answer like this. When you answer, you will say, Xolo. Let me increase the font. Let me just say 60. I know why you say Xolo can evict Zolani with a court order in terms of section 26 of the Constitution. Right? Then Xolo can evict Zolani with a court order in terms of section 26 subsection 3 of the Constitution. Xolo, Zolani, remember, Zolani is unlawful occupier. Therefore, I want to show you, we have extension of security of tenure which protect the lawful occupiers. And then we have a prevention of illegal eviction which protect unlawful occupiers. Therefore, it means that Zolani, because he's unlawful occupier, because the lease agreement has expired, he is no longer protected by the extension of a security of a tenure, right? Because it's unlawful. Then it means that he will be protected by the prevention of illegal from unlawful occupation of a land. Then when you answer, you go forward, you come to the Port Elizabeth municipality case where they say that as part of the eviction process of unlawful occupiers, that certain circumstances must be considered before unlawful occupiers may be evicted. These circumstances include the rights of the needs of the adult, children, disabled person and household, aided by women, and in certain cases, the availability of alternative accommodation for the relocated and of unlawful occupiers. Then those statements, this one is a very crucial. You will have to summarize this statement in order to get the full marks. Then you go and paste that one.
That is color.
Yes. Then okay, let me do this. When you answer that one, you must ensure that you say Xolo can evict Zolan with a court order in terms of section 26 subsection 3 of the Constitution. Zolani is unlawful occupier. Therefore, Xolo is no longer protected by extension of Security of Tenure Act 62 of 1997. Zolan will be protected by prevention of illegal eviction from and unlawful occupation of Land Act 19 of 1998. As part of the Illegal Eviction Act stated that eviction process of unlawful occupiers is that certain circumstances must be considered before an unlawful occupiers may be evicted. These circumstances include the rights and needs of the elderly, children, disabled persons, and household headed by women, and in certain cases, the availability of alternative accommodation for the relocation of the unlawful occupier. In Port Elizabeth municipality, it was held that the eviction order must be just and equitable. Consequently, parties with a competing interest must attempt to reach an agreement through discussions or mediation. If parties cannot reach an agreement, the court may consider all relevant circumstances, grant an eviction order. Therefore, when you answer like this, you get the full marks.
Okay.
Yes. However, I'm going to show you another tricky question. Just for now, I just want you to check it so that you can see and write it down. Then I'm going to show you another tricky question that you may get in the examination. Then question 7 says, can the property development company evict Mr. and Mrs. Williams from the sectional title unit in terms of the prevention of illegal eviction from and unlawful occupation of land? Consider the fact that they have a valid lease agreement. Fully substantiate your answer with relevant to the authority. Remember, we have answered the few previous question of Solani. Now I've opened another question which talk about, can the property development evict Mr. and Mrs. William from sectional unit in terms of prevention of illegal eviction? Remember, considering the fact that they have a valid lease agreement. Now let's go and read about this too. We hear on the scenario that Matilda signs a lease agreement with Mr. and Mrs. Williams over one of the newly developed sectional title units on the farm for 12 months. After 6 months, Matilda sold the sectional title unit leased by Mr. and Mrs. Williams to a property development company. So it means that he sold to another person, right? Now, the lease agreement is still valid, but those people want to evict those people. Then the question, remember what the question is saying. When you get into the examination, please understand the question. Can the property development evict Mr. and Mrs. Williams from sectional title unit in terms of prevention of illegal eviction from the unlawful occupation of land? Please consider the fact that they have a valid lease agreement. This valid lease agreement changes everything because they have a valid lease agreement. So this one, when you answer, is different from Zolani. Zolani was a lawful occupier. These have a valid lease agreement, means they are lawful occupier.
Mm.
And when you answer this question, it's different from this of Xolani that we're answering. Therefore, when you answer this, you will say that Mr. and Miss Williams, I don't know where they're spelling, Mr. and Mrs. Williams are lawful occupier. Uh, Therefore, if they are lawful occupier, they are lawful occupier since they have a valid lease. It means that they are bona fide lawful holder, or we'll just say lawful holder, right? They are bona fide lawful holder, or we'll just say lawful holder, right? It's the one thing, and then you come and say that this one, I'll just copy this one. This one, prevention of this one, um, protects unlawful occupier. Then you'll say Mr. and Miss Williams won't be protected by this legislation. However, they will be protected by, remember here on the site, we said when you are a lawful one, we use a extension of a tenant which protects the lawful tenant. Therefore, they will be
Mm.
protected by this one, which we'll just copy here and paste. I'm giving you these questions because many people failed to understand this type of questions. Then we can see they won't be protected by this legislation. However, they will be protected by extension of security of tenure of 1930. Therefore, the developer cannot evict them based on, let's put it like this legislation. Based on this legislation. Therefore, you can go on and talk about the processes that the developer must follow under this extension of security of tenure of Act 1962 of 1997. Therefore, you talk about it. I have opened another question paper again. Question 4. Nomvula owns a farm near Pietermaritzburg. She is an attorney who works in Sandton. She only visits the farm once a month over a weekend. One Saturday morning, when she arrived on the farm, she discovered that her group of 100 people had moved. When you hear that they've moved, it means that those people are illegal and they are protected by protected illegally. You have already know by now. Then we have Nomvula, who is worried about and discusses options with him. She knows that she menstruated a Rafe and Casio, but there's a limitation regarding those so-called. But in this situation, you are not relying on number 4.1. I will leave it because I'm not the one. I'm not focusing on revindication. I will go to 4.2. Briefly advise Nomvula on how she could go about evicting the group of people. In your answer, refer to relevant statutory law and case law. Right? This is 4.2. We answered another question from another question paper. We are answering another. Remember, we have answered two question papers now. And we are going to the third question paper, which is the same. You see, we have answered the questions, two questions from different question paper, but still the same. Now we are coming to the third question about Nomvula. You must firstly say that Nomvula should know that those 100 group of people are unlawfully occupier and protected by, you come and use the same, because they are unlawfully. If they were lawfully, we will be talking about extension, right? This extension of security. But because they are unlawfully, we have to use the prevention. Sorry, I don't know why it takes time to copy to paste. Maybe there's some free update. Yes, they are protected by prevention of things. Then you see what I've done on this one. I started that column must need a court order. So even in this instance, section will be applicable. Therefore, Nomvula will need a court order to evict them. You must write like you're using the situation. To evict them in terms of section 26(3) of the Constitution. Then, after writing this, you go and copy the same way that I follow it, right? Where I follow it. As part of illegal eviction act stated, then this is what it would be. And then you give a case by Port Elizabeth, which is the same thing in order to get the full marks. Then I'll just copy this one the same way I have showed you on the first one. I'll go and put it here. It's the same way that you write and then you paste. You get a full marks. I have answered 3 questions from the 3 question paper and I will get the same results. The difference is that this one, number 2, it is different because it doesn't protected by a prevention of illegally. It is protected by the extension of security of tenure. Then I can go on and talk about the processes that you must be followed in the extension. That I do not follow those processes. I just want to follow you when I follow the eviction, this one. So whenever you get a question where it's talking about the unlawful occupiers, you answer this way. You get the full marks. It's easy and you can write it without even going to the study guide, because this one is very easier. You can even summarize it very, very easier. then you get the full 5 marks. You see, I've answered the 3 question papers at the same time and are able to give the difference between the prevention of illegal eviction and extension of security of tenure. And then this one is easier. So don't forget, don't fail these type of questions next time on the examination.
Now you say when
Will
you
take
come.
place. If it's illegal, the prevention will take place. Then you must understand the question. That is number one important in the property. Understand the question.